Now, this is where we start to vary a little bit, Vince, in some of our prognostications for breakout players for the Notre Dame defense in 2022. Our third breakout player is the same position.
Yes.
But we have a little bit of a difference of opinion on who that breakout player is going to be. So why don't you kick things off?
Well, at least it's the same position for now, right? That could change potentially.
I'm still going to count him as the same position.
That's fine.
It may not be this. What I mean by position is linebacker.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Not necessarily one weak side or strong side linebacker. Because I think they could end up playing together depending on when they go to the 3 linebacker looks.
I do too.
So let it roll.
Yes. So my third breakout player, and we got a taste. We got a bit of a taste of this guy this year, and it's Jack Kiser. And I think that he was one of the guys that really took it on the chin with the whole Shane Simon situation at Buck linebacker. I think there, at the very least, there should have been a rotation there between Shane Simon, Jack Kiser, and your guy, because I think that would have only benefited them moving into the future. And the fact that Jack Kiser got one full game and was dominant, I think speaks volumes. Now, it wasn't the best offense that Notre Dame saw all season.
Notre Dame played a lot of bad offenses. Let's be honest about that.
They did, but
and the Bucks still didn't play well.
Right, and it wasn't a matter of he was just a better athlete than the guys that he was playing against in that game. It was his instincts were better. Than Shane Simon. He was moving to the ball quicker. He was making more plays. He's just more instinctual at that position than Shane Simon was. And I was very disappointed that we didn't get to really see him the rest of the season. I mean, there was a couple of cameos here and there, but overall, that was his one shining moment since we're about to move into March Madness here. So I think that with given the opportunity, I think Jack Kiser can be an absolute star on this defense because his skill set is perfect for what they want him to do, kind of in that, and I forget the name that you called it, but it's kind of like the rover, but like...
Yeah, they don't really, I don't know what they've called it, a star in the past. Last year was sort of a Sam linebacker, and they didn't even really use it as much last year. So
right,
and we don't even know how they're going to. Are they going to go 4-2-5 with just 2 linebackers? Are they going to go 4-2-5 with the 5th guy being sort of a hybrid guy? I really still don't know what they're going to do.
But I think you
from
have
what
to
I'm told, I believe they're going with more of a 4-down base.
Okay,
and then they're going to mix it up from that. But we're going to have to see how exactly he uses that.
And I think we'll see 3 linebackers on the field at times. There's no question. And when they do, I think my guy and your guy definitely need to be on the field at the same time. I just think that Jack Kiser is a star in the making, and I'm really looking forward to watching him play given the proper opportunity, which I do believe he will get.
Right. And look, I think this Buck linebacker situation shows that, look, we can praise a coach and still find criticism of him. Just because we criticize the decision doesn't mean that we think the coach stinks or whatever. I think Clark Lee did a great job at Notre Dame. I just think in this instance, he fell in love with one guy's certain traits and just stubbornly stuck to that, thinking that guy was going to have the similar breakout to Osmar Bilal. I think their best linebacker never played one game, and it was Jack. It was just Jack Lamb, not Jack Kiser. I still think Jack Lamb's their best player, but once the initial decision was made, and it was, I can't really get into too much, but it was once the initial decision was made and things that transpired, it was obvious that Jack Lamb was never going to get a shot to play again at Notre Dame, which is unfortunate because he's a really good football player. He's going to go start for somebody at the big level, and he's going to be a darn good football player.
I was really hoping that that Marcus Freeman was going to go after Jack Lamb as
I think he knew that one wasn't going to change.
Okay.
That one, there was nothing he's going to be able to do to fix that one. Let's just leave it at that. And
that's fine.
And so, yeah,
it's just disappointing because I agree with you. I love the play of Jack Lamb. Yeah. There's no question about it. That position was just so deep and so good. Mm-hmm. It's a shame that Jack is transferring, but you know what? You got to do what's best for you.
Right.
And I totally get that.
Yeah. He's gonna thrive wherever he goes. There's no doubt about it.
I'm real curious to see where he's going to end up.
There's a lot of schools after him. So it's going to be interesting. He's going to have plenty of options. So I'm curious to see what he's going to do. Now, my breakout player at linebacker is Marist Liufau. And to me, I think he is ideally suited for this defense. It's an aggressive, downhill defense that is gonna it needs range, it needs athleticism, and these guys that can attack. And when we did our linebacker breakdown, we showed how much more productive the linebacker position is or was inside. You need inside linebackers that can make a lot of plays in the backfield. And there's nobody to me that's better attacking downhill than Marist. I mean, his instincts and all that are good. He made a lot of mistakes last year, but he's a redshirt freshman that never played before, so I expected that. But his athleticism, the one thing that popped, and here's the difference between him and Shane Simon. They're both really athletic players. The difference is Marist just goes, and he'll make mistakes, but he's just going to fly to the football. And and sometimes he'll make mistakes but still make a play. I mean, the fact that he was so much more productive than Shane Simon despite playing so fewer snaps is just – it's kind of head-scratching.
Mind-boggling, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a guy that if the linebacker battle is truly open, I have a hard time not seeing him playing a lot of snaps this year as that weak side inside linebacker.
Sure.
And, he is a weapon – that this and he's definitely a guy that you have to have on the field on third down. With all due respect to Bo Bauer, you have to have Marist on the field on third down. Have to. He needs to be. You need to turn him loose on the quarterback, and he's got some coverage ability as well. Again, his biggest issue is going to be assignment correctness. That's going to be the only thing that's going to hold him back. He's got to be more assignment correct because you can't make as many assignment mistakes as he made. But when he knew what he was doing and he went to the ball, he was super impressive. So I could see a scenario, Vince, if they play more three linebacker stuff. I could see a scenario where Marist and Jack Kiser are on the field a lot together. And if that's the case, boy, that's a lot of range and athleticism outside linebacker. Because the one thing they both have is outstanding. This is an extremely athletic group of linebackers. And when you look at Marist and Jack Kiser plus Osita Ekwonu, Bo Bauer's a very good box athlete. Drew White's a very underrated athlete. And Shane Simon, for all his flaws, is still very athletic. He just doesn't have the instincts to play football at a high level. Hopefully that changes. Because if the light goes on for Shane Simon this year, like we're banging on Shane Simon because how he played, it's not personal. If the light goes on for Shane Simon, he could absolutely have an Asmar Bilal type breakout. And even more so because I think Shane's probably a little better athlete than Asmar was.
I agree.
It's just he showed no signs of that light going on this year. But if it does, and let's say Marcus Freeman's able to communicate to him in a way that allows that light to click, then Shane Simon could be that breakout player for Notre Dame. But just based on what we've seen, that's why he's not in this conversation. For me. I don't know what your thoughts are on Shane Simon as far as discussing what he was and is compared to what he could be. I actually think he's very talented. I just don't think he plays very well.
Yeah, and that's, sometimes that's just how it is. Sometimes guys just don't play well. I mean, they have all the traits, so to speak. He's one of the better athletes on the team. There's no question about it. We've seen it. It's just from the linebacker position, it's a lot about instinct. It's a lot about being able to read and digest information very, very quickly. And attack. And I just feel like the wheels don't move quite fast enough. And that has nothing to do with his mental capacity or any of that. It's just a play diagnosis, if you will.
Because he's a great student. I mean, that's not
right. And that's not, you know what I'm saying. I just don't want people to think I'm calling him dumb. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying his play diagnosis is a little bit slow. And so he's slow to react.
Right.
And when you're slow to react at linebacker, the play's over. Like there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. I think the thing too with Shane Simon is he is so robotic as a player. It's like if you tell him to drop at 45 degrees, he's going to drop at 45 degrees. So I actually think he knows the playbook really well. He doesn't have the feel for playing defense. And that to me is the issue is he doesn't make a lot of assignment mistakes. He's just always late because he doesn't just go. And that's going to be the thing for me is he's got to prove that he can just go. And if he can't do that, they have to make a change because they can't get another year at Buck linebacker with what we saw this year. It can't even be close. He's going to have to be way better. And the other reason is because there is so much talent there. There's another reason for it. So I think if the competition is open, unless Shane Simon turns it around, and look, we could say he's going to have another Asmar Bilal type breakout, but the reality is guys like Asmar are rare. You don't see
Yeah.
guys go from like, because we had that same conversation with like Steve Filer. Remember him? Another freaky athlete that you're just like, football just wasn't natural for him, and he never figured it out. Osmar it was rare. That rarely happens. And so hopefully Shane is the next guy to do that. I'm definitely with him going to have to be in a believe it when I see it mode.
Yeah.
Whereas with Jack Kiser and Marist, we've seen those flashes from those guys. Well, a lot of flashes. It's just now about putting it all together. And so that's why I think between the two of them, I think one of them is going to get a shot to do something big this year.